Hello guys, this is Praise the Dark here, and today I'm going to be coming at you with 10 important things about Dark Souls 3. Now, you may already know these things, but I decided to put the information that we know thus far in a top 10 video. This is not in any specific order, and it is not to show my favorite editions, but these are just what I think are most important about the game itself. At number 10 we have weapon arts. Now this is something I'm sure almost all of you know already, but it is very imperative to how people will now have to play the game. It is a more welcome addition to the series as compared to the less intuitive power stance of Dark Souls 2, with much more versatility and enhancements. With weapon arts, pressing different bumpers and triggers makes way for different moves of your weapon, and allows for many different ways to deal with the enemies. The weapon arts vary greatly as you switch from weapon to weapon, and it makes the game more interesting. Instead of just having the normal light R1 and heavy R2, you have the ability to use a wider range of attacks. Keep in mind you must be aware of how many times you use the weapon arts, as there's a limited usage of them between bonfire visits. At number 9 we have the animations. Animations of Dark Souls 3 will be extremely similar to or downright the same as Dark Souls 1. Instant backstabs are back and serve as an advantage and a disappointment to different people. Many PvPers hate this because backstabs can prove to be quite annoying due to the connection never being perfect, but nonetheless, we will have to get used to this because it is staying. The parry animations are now the same as Dark Souls 1 as well. Enemies will be slightly easier to parry than in Dark Souls 2, and the execution won't take so long either. Rolling seems to be much faster under low equipment load, taking a bit of a Bloodborne-like appearance because of the speed. In Dark Souls 3, the Estus Flask will be drunk faster and the player can resume fighting quickly. The only thing I can really note about the Estus Flask's animation that is different is that the player can't move for a small amount of time before and after usage. Estus Flasks will also be able to be used while climbing a ladder, just like it was in Dark Souls 2. All in all, animations will be much like those of the original Dark Souls. At number 8, we have changes to combat. Combat will be much faster than it has been compared to the previous editions to the Souls series. It will be somewhat like Bloodborne in a way, but it will definitely not be that fast. With the footage that has been released, combat looks very clean and fluid, and I'm very excited about it. At number 7, we have game design. Now that we have Miyazaki at the helm of this, we know this game is going to be designed amazingly. The gameplay footage shows close-quarter areas with the enemies around every corner. It looks much darker and reminds me of the style of Bloodborne, but with a more Souls series touch. Torches will most likely be a necessity, and I love that. It forces players to sacrifice their shield so that they can see. Dynamic lighting in this game is much like the Scholar of the First Sin version of Dark Souls 2, and also like Bloodborne. At number 6, we have enemy behavior. Enemies in this game seem to raise the challenge even higher in a game that is already unforgiving. They are much more aggressive and have a draw distance much greater than before. Miyazaki also said that he wanted the knights in the game to be much like the ones in the early game of Demon Souls, in which the players would have to be more strategic in beating them. Although instant backstabs are a thing, these knights will shield bash you if you try to circle around to their back. AI is going to be much improved and will give the enemies some sort of intelligence. At number 5, we have a wider range of builds. We don't have much information on all the specific builds you can create, but one that intrigues me the most is the ability to have a bow build. Bow wielders can now fight more gracefully and much faster as compared to past iterations of the Souls series. Dark Souls 3 makes this weapon a much more viable thing to use and will open a path to a new type of dexterity build. At number 4, we have the way Dark Souls 3 will tell the story. We know that the story will be told through item descriptions like usual, but now we know it will also be described in bits and pieces written on epitaphs. One tells of a soldier raising a sword for the Lord of Cinder, and the others tell a different story. I definitely welcome this into the game, because you also have to work to find these epitaphs. One of them is even behind an optional mini-boss. I like how the story isn't just given to the player because that would not be Souls-like. At number 3, we have the multiplayer. In Dark Souls 3, multiplayer will be pretty much like it was in previous Souls series. White Sign Soapstone will exist, as well as invasions. Miyazaki stated that the ability to invade, of course, will not be just limited to cracked red eye orbs. Also, soul memory will be removed, but I'm sure that all of you could have predicted that. That was awful. And of course, Covenants will be back, as shown with the Sunlight Covenant displayed during gameplay. At number 2, we have the bosses. In Dark Souls 3, it seems as though Miyazaki put a lot of thought into the boss fights. He explained previously that every boss in the game will have 2 to 3 stages that will come out during the fight, and will usher in a whole new level of difficulty. We can already see an example of this with the Dancer of the Frigid Valley, where she pulls out another sword once her HP hits a certain point. This is very exciting to me because the story and boss fights are my favorite bits of the Souls series. Finally, at number 1, we have an interesting adoption from Demon Souls, and that is the Magic Bar. This removes the spell usage counter and adds a blue bar between HP and stamina. To refill this bar, you must use the Ash Estus Flask, which is basically the same thing as the original Estus Flask, but it has a blue tint. The reason why I put this at number 1 is because this is the new mechanic that surprised me the most. I think it is quite interesting, and I'm not sure how I will like it, but knowing Miyazaki, this can't be a bad thing. Despite the fact that we don't have that much footage based on all of the castings that Dark Souls 3 has, we know that MP will be drained with weapon arts and also with the casting. Dark Souls 3 will be released on March 24th, 2016, and I can't wait to get my hands on it, guys. Make sure to keep a lookout for more update videos on my channel for Dark Souls 3, and subscribe if you want to see videos like this and gameplay as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. This was Praise the Dark. Have a great day. Peace.